The Oath of the Moonlight is a captivating love story set in an Igbo village during the annual Moonlight Festival. Prince Obinna, a wealthy and respected heir to the throne, falls in love with Adanna, a humble but beautiful village maiden, during the celebration. Their love challenges the deeply rooted traditions of the land, as the prince must convince the council of elders and his people that love can transcend social status. Faced with trials and opposition, including the schemes of a jealous woman named Ifeoma and an unexpected attack on their wedding day, Prince Obinna and Adanna's bond is tested. Through courage, determination, and unwavering love, they overcome these challenges. The story explores themes of tradition, love, betrayal, and resilience, culminating in a powerful message that love, when true, can break even the strongest barriers. The Oath of the Moonlight, a prince's fight for true love. The soft glow of the moon bathed the small village of Nwoko in a silvery hue. It was the night of the annual Nkoyubochi, the Moonlight Festival, a time when the entire village came alive with music, dancing, and storytelling. The festival held a sacred place in the hearts of the Igbo people, for it celebrated the harmony between the earth, the heavens, and the people who thrived beneath them. For Adanna, a young maiden known for her beauty and resilience, this was her favorite night of the year. Draped in a simple but elegant wrapper adorned with patterns of golden leaves, she wove through the crowd. Her braided hair glistened with cowrie shells, and the anklets on her feet jingled softly as she walked. Despite her humble background, Adanna carried herself with a quiet grace that turned heads wherever she went. Across the village square, Prince Obinna stood in quiet observation. Tall and regal, with an air of authority, he was the first son of Iskemdelim, ruler of the wealthy kingdom of Amoko. Clad in a richly embroidered ISI egu top and a red cap adorned with eagle feathers, Obinna was every bit the image of a nobleman. But tonight, his eyes were drawn not to the festivities but to Adanna. It was not the first time he had seen her. During his frequent visits to Nwoko to oversee trade, he had noticed her working tirelessly at the yam market, her laughter brightening even the dullest days. But tonight, under the enchanting moonlight, she seemed otherworldly. As the night deepened, the villagers gathered around a massive bonfire for the storytelling ritual. The elders recounted tales of bravery and love, their voices rising and falling in harmony with the crackling flames. Prince Obinna moved closer to the circle, his heart pounding. He knew he had to speak with her, even if just for a moment. When the stories ended, and the villagers dispersed to dance or share palm wine, Obinna approached Adanna. She was seated on a wooden bench, admiring the stars. "Good evening, Adoma," he greeted, using a term of endearment meaning beautiful daughter. Adanna looked up, startled. Recognizing the prince, she quickly rose and curtsied. "Good evening, my prince. How may I serve you?" "Please, sit," he said gently. "I came not as a prince tonight, but as a man seeking to know the woman who has captured his thoughts." Adanna's cheeks flushed, but she managed to smile. "You flatter me, my prince. I am but a simple maiden." "And yet, you outshine the moon tonight," he replied, his voice earnest. They talked for hours, sharing stories of their lives, dreams, and fears. By the time the first cock crowed, they both knew their lives had changed forever. The next morning, Obinna returned to Amoku with a heart full of purpose. He informed his parents, Iskemdelim and Lolo Ugochi, of his desire to marry Adanna. His father's expression darkened. "Obinna, you are a prince. Your wife must come from a lineage that matches ours. A village maiden, no matter how virtuous, cannot sit beside you on the throne." "But father," Obinna argued, "Adanna is not just any maiden. She is intelligent, kind, and strong. She will make a great queen." Lolo Ugochi placed a comforting hand on her son's shoulder. "My son, love is powerful, but tradition is the foundation of our kingdom. The elders will not approve. On the third, Obinna sought the counsel of the village elders. The council, composed of men with decades of wisdom, listened intently as he made his case. Prince Obinna, said Ozo Amici, the eldest among them, your love for this maiden is admirable. But the law is clear, a prince must marry a woman of noble birth. This is to ensure the continuity of our royal lineage. Is lineage more important than character? Obinna challenged. Adanna embodies the values we hold dear: integrity, resilience, and compassion. Are these not the qualities of a true queen? The elders murmured among themselves, impressed by his conviction. Still, Ozo Amici replied, if you truly believe in her worth, you must prove it. Let the gods decide. Word spread quickly that Prince Obinna would undertake a sacred test to prove Adanna's worthiness. The challenge was a threefold task that required courage, wisdom, and selflessness, qualities befitting a ruler. The first task was to retrieve the sacred Oji-Yugo, the golden kola nut, from the forbidden forest of Oni. It was said that the forest was guarded by spirits who tested the heart of anyone who entered. Before dawn, Obinna ventured into the forest, armed only with a machete and his faith in Adanna. As he navigated the dense trees, he encountered a spirit in the form of an old woman. Why do you seek the Oji-Yugo? She asked, her voice echoing like the wind. For love, Obinna replied. To prove that true worth lies in the heart, not in titles. The spirit studied him for a moment before stepping aside. Go, young prince. Your heart speaks the truth. By nightfall, Obinna returned with the golden kola nut, earning the respect of the villagers. The second task was to solve the riddle of the river goddess, Ademalai. Adanna, hearing of the challenge, secretly followed Obinna to the riverbank, determined to help him. Ademalai emerged from the water, her presence both terrifying and beautiful. Prince Obinna, she said, if you wish to marry the maiden, answer this. What is the one thing that grows stronger the more it is shared? Obinna hesitated, but before he could speak, Adanna whispered, love. He repeated the answer aloud, and Ademalai smiled. You are correct. Go with my blessing. The final task was the hardest of all, to win the approval of the villagers. For this, Obinna and Adanna worked together, organizing a feast where they spoke of unity and love. Adanna's humility and wisdom won over even the most skeptical elders. On the night of the next Moonlight Festival, the Council of Elders formally announced their approval of the union. The village erupted in celebration as Obinna and Adanna exchanged vows under the same moon that had brought them together. As they stood hand in hand, Obinna turned to the crowd and declared, let this be a lesson to us all. Love is the greatest lineage, and character is the true mark of nobility. From that day on, the kingdom of Amoku embraced a new tradition, one that valued the heart above all else. The day after the grand announcement, the entire kingdom of Amoku buzzed with excitement. The villagers began preparations for what would be the grandest wedding in the land's history. The royal drummers crafted new rhythms, and women wove intricate oak fabrics in vibrant reds and golds. Even the Council of Elders, who had initially opposed the union, contributed to the planning, eager to show their support for their future queen. Adanna, now betrothed to Prince Obinna, could barely believe her new reality. She sat in her mother's small hut, staring at the bundle of gifts brought by the royal family, coral beads, shimmering wrappers, and perfumes from distant lands. Yet, as she admired the treasures, she couldn't shake the weight of responsibility that now loomed over her. Adanna, her mother, Neka, said softly, placing a hand on her daughter's shoulder. You have always been strong and wise. The gods have chosen you for this role, not just as a wife but as a queen. Trust in yourself. Adanna nodded, her heart swelling with both pride and trepidation. Not everyone in the kingdom celebrated the union. Among the villagers was Ifeoma, the daughter of a wealthy trader who had long coveted Prince Obinna. For years, she had believed she would be the one to marry him, a union that would elevate her family status. When news of Obinna's engagement to a mere village maiden spread, Ifeoma's heart burned with jealousy. She does not deserve him, Ifeoma hissed to her friends as they sat beneath the udala tree. She has no lineage, no wealth. How can she stand beside him as queen? Ifeoma's friends murmured in agreement, but none dared to challenge the prince's decision publicly. Unwilling to accept defeat, Ifeoma concocted a plan. She approached her father, a cunning man with connections to mercenaries in the neighboring kingdom. Together, they plotted to disrupt the wedding and tarnish Adanna's reputation. As the wedding day drew closer, Obinna and Adanna faced yet another trial. Rumors began circulating that Adanna was hiding a secret, that she was not who she claimed to be. The elders grew uneasy, questioning whether they had been too hasty in their approval. One evening, during a council meeting, Ozo Amici addressed the prince. Obinna, the people are restless. They say Adanna is unworthy of the throne. We must investigate these claims. Obinna's jaw tightened, his anger barely contained. Adanna has proven herself through the gods' trials and the people's approval. These rumors are the work of EMV, nothing more, but the council insisted, and so it was decided that Adanna would face one final test, a public interrogation by the village oracle. On the eve of the wedding, the entire village gathered at the shrine of Agbola, a sacred place surrounded by ancient trees and marked by carved statues of deities. Adanna stood before the oracle, her head held high despite the murmurs of the crowd. The oracle, an elderly woman with piercing eyes and a voice that seemed to echo from the earth itself, gazed at Adanna for what felt like an eternity. Adanna, daughter of Neka, she said, do you swear by the gods that your heart is pure and your intentions for the prince are true? I swear, Adanna replied firmly. The oracle closed her eyes, chanting in an ancient tongue. Suddenly, the wind picked up, rustling the trees and extinguishing the torches around the shrine. When she opened her eyes again, she smiled. The gods have spoken, she declared. Adanna is pure of heart. She is destined to bring prosperity and unity to Amoku. Let no one speak against her again. The crowd erupted in cheers, and Obinna rushed to Adanna's side, taking her hand in his. Unbeknownst to the couple, Ifeoma and her father were finalizing their plan. On the night before the wedding, they bribed a group of mercenaries to disrupt the ceremony and abduct Adanna. Their goal was to create chaos and force the council to annul the marriage. As dawn broke on the wedding day, the village square was adorned with colorful decorations, and the air was filled with the sound of drums and flutes. Adanna, dressed in a magnificent red and gold wrapper with coral beads adorning her neck and wrist, was the picture of a queen. Obinna, equally resplendent in his royal attire, could not take his eyes off her. But just as the ceremony began, a group of masked men stormed the square, wielding machetes and shouting threats. The villagers scattered in fear, and the mercenaries made their way toward Adanna. Obinna sprang into action, drawing his sword and positioning himself between Adanna and the attackers. His younger brother, Prince Kolechi, joined him, along with several palace guards. A fierce battle ensued, the clashing of blades echoing through the square. Despite their initial advantage, the mercenaries were no match for the combined strength and skill of the Amoku warriors. One by one, they were subdued, and the remaining attackers fled into the forest. Among the captives was one of Ifeoma's father's men, who quickly confessed under interrogation. The truth of Ifeoma's betrayal was revealed, and she and her father were banished from the kingdom. With the threat neutralized, the wedding ceremony resumed. This time, it was not just a union of two people but a celebration of resilience, love, and the triumph of truth over envy. As Obinna and Adanna exchanged vows under the moonlight, the oracle's words rang in their ears, "Let no one speak against her again." The villagers danced and sang late into the night, their joy uncontainable. For Obinna and Adanna, it was the beginning of a new chapter, a partnership rooted in love, respect. Years later, King Obinna and Queen Adanna were remembered not just as rulers but as symbols of hope and unity. Their story was passed down through generations, inspiring young men and women to value character over status and love over tradition, and so, the oath of the moonlight lived on, reminding all who heard it that true worth lies in the heart.